Alright, speaking of Hard Knock Life, if you want to take a look at his shirt in here,
It's a hard knock life for us.
I don't know if you can get that there. School of Hard Knocks, DHR, it's got the logo here, the guy knocking on the door, that's us. And then you got FMG, what does that stand for?
Fearless money getters. Scared money makes no money.
It also happens to be his initials.
Fernando M. Garcia.
I just want to welcome everybody to the first Hard Knock Life show. I'm here with the top gun here, Fernando Garcia. He was the winner of this year's, the first contest that we had here at DHR Incorporated. It was a 6-week contest, and what happened was it was a one-on-one contest. So it was real simple. Top salesman of the 6 weeks gets $5,000 and gets a plaque and gets named Top Gun, which is top salesman for that contest. To me, it was really important because coming from the last company where I was working at, their culture and what they did was to motivate people. They had a lot of sales contests. They had a lot more people than we had, but I thought it was important that we started our own contest. All right, they had a point system. We didn't do a point system, and what we did was it was just plain out, just straight. Whoever sells the most, gets the plaque and wins. And I'll show you some pictures later on that I have the night that Fernando officially won. Came over. We actually had some alcohol, a couple of drinks to celebrate. And then next, as far as our guest for the show, we're gonna have Deshaun Chapler, which he won the MVP, which was the most valuable player for the first half of the year, which is important. We gave away these plaques at our first annual. We had a banquet in Hollywood. So I just want to get into some questions I have for Fernando. Fernando, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? A little history about yourself?
Brief history. I grew up in Southeast Los Angeles. Came from a poor family. Just basically growing up with odds against you. Grew up in the neighborhood, rough neighborhood. Where kind of everybody was destined to be from a gang. But ultimately, I had to get out of there. Grew up, had my son Joshua living with me, my motivation, and somewhere along the line I met Travis down this path called life, and instantaneously became friends. Started working with him at a company that he previously owned, and from there our relationship flourished. And I was
Speaking of that company, I don't want to cut you off, but can you hand me that right there? Right there, you'll see it right there, Deshaun, on the wall.
Oh yeah.
I actually still kept one of the signs I had in the office. This was one of the logos from the company that we both worked at. I was very proud of this company. We used to sell meat. Southern California Steak and Seafood Company. Remember these days? This was probably a huge foundation in our career. Both of us, we sold meat off of the back of a truck, the meat man, thing, and that's how I met him. And he started doing that with me. And then once this played out, which I did it for 8 years. How long did you do it for?
About 3
years. Okay.
3.
After that ran its course, I got back into alarm sales, which I was still in contact with Fernando. So we got into alarms, and it's been like if you heard the song in the beginning, that's why it's called the School of Hard Knocks. It is, not only do we, it's funny because not only does it symbolize knocking on people's doors, like the back of his shirt, the logo, and as you see Hard Knocks, but it's just I didn't go to college. You didn't go to college, did you?
I mean,
you have any degrees?
no degrees, no high school diploma.
And I think that's what that symbolizes and what that means to me, the School of Hard Knocks. A lot of people, they have a formal education. We're businessmen that started, like I said, from nothing. And I'm very proud that you won this, Fernando. It means a lot to me. I want him to go ahead and get into like a little bit of a story on last year. What happened last year?
Last year I was involved in a head-on collision. It was really a tough time.
It was actually on the news. It was on the news. It was breaking news on every channel. Deshaun was actually in the car with him. and you know, I got a phone call in the middle of the night. I was in Arizona, I remember, on a trip, and it was actually your uncle Gonzalo called me, and he was in a panic calling me saying, hey, T, hey man, I gotta talk to you. Nando got in an accident, you know, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, you know, is everything okay? No, he's getting airlifted. You know, he might die. You know, I was like, wow, it had all happened just like that. And I guess you were traveling down a road in Pear Blossom, right? Or
right.
In the Lake Los Angeles area, up in the high desert.
Yeah, we were traveling. You know, life hits you unexpectedly. We were in the right of way, actually. We were on the right side of the lane. Somebody had tried to speed up past the big rig, not even knowing that we were there, and hit us head on. About 55 miles per hour, 65 miles per hour. Car was completely demolished. It looked like an accordion. You know, I got pictures I can show you. All I know is
the
that
car was smashed completely.
All I know is that by the grace of God, I didn't die, and me and Deshaun made it. I was airlifted, none of which I remembered.
Where'd you go, to Lancaster?
Yeah, Antelope Valley Hospital.
Antelope Valley Hospital. Yeah.
I was airlifted, had surgery, had metal bar, titanium alloy put in my femur.
How long were you out of work?
I was
as
out
far
of
as,
work
you
for
know,
about
selling?
About a good 8 months.
He was out for about 8 months. You know, I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know if he wasn't even gonna come back. You know, it was devastating. This wasn't a joke at all. This wasn't some little fender bender. This was life changing, you know, and that's why I think it even means twice, or I would say 100 times more, that you won this, you know, after all the odds that you've overcame and what you've been through. And then not to mention the guy that was riding passenger with you. How long was Deshaun out of work? How long were you out of work, Deshaun?
About 4 months.
He was out of work for 4 months too, recovering. You know, and he wins the MVP. You know, it's funny how sometimes the guys that go through the most, you know, end up, you know, getting the most, you know, in the end. You know, I'm very proud of you two guys. You know, I mean, this is our first official show. You know, and you know, it's different for all of us. We've never been in front of the camera.
It sure is different for us.
But we're gonna get used to this because, you know, we deserve this recognition, and we deserve for the whole world to hear our story, because we both, you know, all three of us have a hell of a story to tell, you know. Another thing that I'm very proud of is, you know, when he did come back, you know, I know it was tough because, you know, we're in a full commission job where there's no guarantees, there's no salary, there's no hourly pay, you know, there's no sick leave, there's no, oh, I'm sick, but the company's still gonna pay me, you know. And, you know, I was helping Fernando out financially here and there as much as I could. And, you know, I finally got to a point where I saw him on you know, he went from a wheelchair to a walker, okay? And he was coming to the meetings in the walker, and I think we even put him on the phone, tried to do some telemarketing collections. We were doing whatever we could so he could generate some money. And I saw him, you know, he was in the meeting, and I said, you know what? Why don't we just come out to the field with your walker, and I'll drive you around to the houses, and you first come with me and I'll show you, you know, because I know he was out for 6 or more months, and it's hard to just jump out of sales for 6 months and then jump back in. I said, why don't you come with me to the houses, and I'll go ahead and, you know, and I'll show you some deals, and, you know, I'll refresh your memory, and you can go out there and you can start, you know, knocking some doors yourself, even with the walker. So, you know, we actually went out back to close to where the accident happened.
Yep.
And, you know,
first house.
And I didn't baby him at all. You know, I know he was hurt, and I know he had a metal bar in his leg and all that. But you know what? To me, there's no excuses. There's no excuses. And that's why I'm so proud, man. I love working with you guys every day. You know, because you know, I was in the Marine Corps, and you know, I was always taught. You know, you look at a man and a guy next to, and you know, you ask yourself, would I go to war with that guy? And these guys, you know, we go to war every day in this business, and I definitely already have been to war with these guys in this business, and I would definitely keep going to war with these guys every single day. I remember the first deal that he got, you know, back to work with me in his walker. He got out, he limped to the door, and I waited in the van, and he closes and he got a deal. And from that day forward, it was just, he came in every day, and you know, and shit, man, before you knew it, You know, he won a sales contest. You know, fair and square. And I don't know. Speak on it, Fernando. How did all this happen?
One of the things that motivated me is, you know, we was in previous competitions.
Right.
Came close, but no cigar. Came from a background where you kind of accept what you're given. In this life, we didn't have no choices. You know, I grew up in the neighborhood.
The plaque, the Final Four.
Actually competed against some good semi-finalists from other states. Right there in the company that we previously worked for. Like I said, close but no cigar.
Right.
But one of my dreams was to show my dad, and my dad, rest in peace, he passed away a month before my accident, Ron Corral. And he's seen a lot. He was my dad, and he seen a lot of potential in Travis. Usually my dad would tell me, don't hang around this guy, don't hang around this guy. But in this case, my dad was like, hey, you need to hang around that guy. And
that's one of the contests he was talking about here.
And you know, it is what it is. You know, I didn't win the contest. Made the 6G club though. And
yeah, this is another thing too that we do here at our company is we, if you make $6,000 in 1 week or more, we give you a plaque. It's called the $6,000 in 1 week club, which is I'm very proud of too, because there's not too many places where you can make this kind of money. You know, like I said, no formal education. You know, just going out there, you know, in the school of hard knocks, you know, learning on our own, the bumps and the bruises, and going through it all, being able to make this kind of money, you know, is almost ridiculous. You know, so we make it happen here. DHR stands for Dream Hustle Reality. That's what we're about. We're about making our dreams a reality, and we're all about, you know, putting in the work and the hustle in the middle to get from there to there. This is really very cool. This is also something too to be very proud of. I mean, you're talking over 200 sales reps enter these contests here. Made it in the Final Four. I know he got cheated. I mean, it was kind of there was a lot of controversy. It was very controversial. Him and another guy that works here, Daniel Quiroz, were in the finals. And I actually sat out that competition because I wanted one of the guys from our office to win. I had one of the 2 previous ones before that, and I could have won, you know, went back to back to back, the 3rd one, and I said, you know what, I think these guys need to go out there and prove it to themselves that they're just as good too. So I kind of sat that one out, and I let the guys go ahead, and you know, I'm very proud of that. Him and Daniel Quiroz, you'll probably meet here, you know, in the interviews one day.
Yes.
Made it to the Final Four. I don't know if you want
I'm just gonna break it down because I've never done an interview. I'm glad that we're being straight up. My first time doing this on camera. I came from a place where people just don't make it. So that's my motivation. When people doubt me or people tell me I can't do something, I'll prove them wrong.
Okay.
Not only that, but these competitions were very important to me because I never won anything in my life. So I still felt like a winner, even though I didn't win this competition. I pulled off with the brand new Mercedes. You know, had $6,000 in my pocket in the same week. So the difference between that competition and this one was the Top Gun competition was it meant a lot more to me because I actually had felt like I died in that accident. Something happened.
Right. And
I knew I wasn't supposed to be alive. I knew something, and it was an intervention from God, a divine intervention, and that's why I'm still here. And being in a wheelchair, if you guys don't know, man, I can empathize with disabled veterans. I can empathize with people that have been through that, because when you can't walk and you're in a wheelchair with a broken neck and a broken back, you know, you realize that like there's really nothing you can do about it. But the one thing that I was able to do about it was always keep a positive mindset, stay in contact with Travis, he's my mentor. But ultimately, man, when I was at home and I just looked at my son.
Did you ever feel like quitting, honestly?
And
like,
I felt like quitting.
I'm done. I'm not gonna do this.
I felt like it was done. But what motivated me was, if you thought, you know, thinking about quitting, thinking about, you know, looking at your son, you know, keep in mind, my father passed away and we were living with him, me and my son. And now it's just me and my son, and I lost my income. I didn't have a job. Disability denied me 3 times.
You're going through a lot.
And I was just sitting at home, keeping a smile, on my face for my son. But when he was asleep, I would actually cry in my pillow because I just didn't know how or what I was gonna do to make it. And actually neighbors got together and dropped groceries off in a bag in front of my house because they knew I was too proud to ask. So with the help of my brother Ronald, he pushed me around that wheelchair everywhere. And then one day, you know, after a failed attempt to work for the previous company that we were working for, you know, I got nothing bad to say about them, but nothing positive either. I'm just saying that I felt like I was only as good as what I could bring to the table. And when I couldn't bring that to the table anymore, I was cast out like a leper. They didn't want to do nothing with me. Like, hey, you know, we don't need your services no more. I was thrown out. And
That was another obstacle. Yeah, that was another obstacle.
what motivated me was I ended up realizing, I'm like, you know, I'm better than this. But it took my boy Travis, you know, T-Bone. That's how I know him, because we were friends way before this even started. He came to my house one night with the camera, and I was in a wheelchair, sitting in the wheelchair in my living room.
Yeah.
He stormed into my house and he took us to a casino. And I had fun. I went out in a wheelchair
Oh, I remember that.
to a casino and ate some steak and some shrimp and might have eaten some lobster. And I thought that was pretty cool. And in a limo. So he then told me, hey man, you know, we need you back at the office. And he reminded me that I was a key part of this, which I had forgot. Because when you're in a wheelchair and you ain't got no money and you're sitting in an apartment, you start feeling by yourself. But I realized I wasn't by myself. And I realized that the company needed me, and he called and he said, "Hey man,
I don't
we need
forget.
you here."
I don't forget nothing. One
He
thing.
said, "We need you here."
One thing that you can ask me, I don't forget anything. You know, that's one thing. You know, being, you know, this is my company, and just like you have your own crews and, you know, your own company, you see everything. You're supposed to. You know, you got to know what the hell's going on, and you know, and when I saw, all I needed to see was that you were still breathing. You know, obviously if you're in a wheelchair, you know, and you got a neck brace, and you know, when you first got out of the hospital, there's no way in hell that you could have went to work. But once you got on that walker and you started moving around, and you still had your mouth, you
Yep.
still talk, which, you know, 90% of our job is done with our mouth. You know,
Mouthpiece.
I saw you talking, and I saw you halfway walking, and I said, you know what? If I can just be patient enough and say, you know what, let me drive him around, and you know, there's no reason why you can't go out and get 4 or 5 deals in a week. I think you were doing like 4 or 5 deals in a week.
Yep.
You were doing like 4 to 5 to 6 deals every week.
In a walker.
And you're making, I mean, we're not making $100 a deal,
No.
you know? You're making at least $400 or $500 a deal, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're making over $2,000 a week, more money than probably 80% of the people in the country, and you're in a walker, you know? And that's the most, I would say, that's probably that's the reason why I do what I do, you know? I mean, the money's unbelievable, you know? Obviously, once he threw the walker, he went to the cane.
Yeah.
Then he got on the cane, and you know, it was, you know, I don't even see you limping anymore, man.
I don't even limp no more.
He doesn't even limp anymore, man. You know, and I think the doctors wanted him to sit out how long?
The doctor said I want to recover until over a year, and I got out.
Yeah, he
of
was
that
back to
in 8
work
months.
making money before a year was over. You know, they wanted him to go to rehab. I mean, I remember he was missing rehab, going to work. You know, I would say, you know, I've known this guy for a while. I was there when his son was born. You know, and I know this guy, man, he's a strong man. He's a strong man, and he's a great dad. You know, if you want to talk about your son, Joshua.
Yeah,
which,
Joshua.
you know, big part of your life.
Yeah, I have him. A lot of things that mean a lot to me, I have it tattooed. Like I have my
Let's see it.
son
Come on, let's see
tattooed.
the SpongeBob. Come on, we gotta see it all.
You know, I got this
I know you don't have a 6-pack, but
this tattoo of my son, that's Joshua.
I'm in the
You know,
sauna right now working on that. You know.
You know, I got it tattooed because, you know, when you have a kid, it changes your life. But he's my motivation. He reminds me of myself. Growing up, I didn't have really too much of a good mentor as far as like
Right.
leading me to success or anything. You kind of just, with the cards that you were dealt, you have to work with those. And the reason that I'm motivated is because I always wanted a better life for my son. And I don't want him to go through what I went through. And I don't think anybody wants their kids to go through what we've been through.
Right.
And that's what it's about, progress, you know. And my son is my life. He motivates me. His brother Marcus, my other son, you know, they live with me. We were able to make something out of nothing. Literally coming from a wheelchair to where we're living at. I mean, you guys been in my house. It's not bad. Not bad for a guy that came out of a wheelchair. You know, we're content. You know, we're not satisfied, but I have no complaints. You know, my kid has a bed to sleep in. The refrigerator's always filled. You know, we have a swimming pool. I mean, there's little things that I never had that I'm willing to offer him. I'm thinking about getting him into private school. That's my next major goal. He lights up my world. When I don't have nothing to live for, I found something to die for, and that's my son. So when I almost died in that car accident, I realized that time was running out. I realized that tomorrow was not promised, and I realized that what kind of legacy or what am I going to leave for my son if I don't take action now? So it was like a second chance, and that's what motivated me. And that's why when I came back to work, I did outright some of the crew, most of the crew at that point with the walker. And it's because I was ambitious, I was determined. The time was running out, and I still feel like the time's running out.
I think another thing too that's helped you out, you know, is your right hand man, Deshaun.
Another thing.
I think Deshaun to me, you know, he reminds me a lot of myself when I was his age. And we're gonna get to Deshaun next, you know, pretty soon. As soon as we're done, Fernando's talking. I'm very proud of, you know, the guy that. Speak on Deshaun if you can for a second.
I'm glad that you brought Deshaun up, because I can talk about
important.
myself.
I really do.
But I'll tell you this much. With Deshaun, because I have already made a commitment to, you know, bettering my life and going to church, but for some reason things happened. And when he walked into the office the first time, you know, he was just a young 18-year-old guy aspiring to do what we were doing. And at that point, he went through a lot of struggles. It took him a long time to learn the business, and I know he's not ashamed of that. And it was to a point where we just didn't know if he was gonna make it all the way or not. But one thing about this guy, he's tough. Mentally, nobody could break him down. He's kind of like, reminds me of myself. If you doubt him, he's gonna prove you wrong. So he had something to prove. He had a chip on his shoulder. And sure enough, you know, through this whole journey, he's been right there by my side, like just like that, you know. And a lot of times I get compliments because I'm like, man, you have the best guy working with you, you know, your right hand guy. And I never had that really before. I've always been like somebody else's right hand guy myself, but I've never had like a right hand guy. And he's always been there. I trust him with my family. You know, he knows my kids, he knows my mom, I know his mom. And coming from our background, I would have never thought that I would be friends with somebody that's younger than me, because I grew up with older guys. But I realized that he has the heart, the balls, the heart, hustle, and huevos, as they call it, to do the business, the 3 H's. And I'm proud to say that me and Deshaun are good friends. We're basically best friends. Like in this business, you know, I don't have to worry about anything that he does. I trust him a lot with his decisions sometimes.
I think your guys' future is really big. I really do. I think you guys together, what you guys are accomplished already. You know, by the way, they're also the top team here too. They're not just, you know, they're winning the awards, MVP, Top Gun, and $6,000 club. They're actually the top team in this office too. They're the team to beat. They have the biggest team. They've hired the most people. They're producing the most. You know, last week they broke their record. They did over 30 installs in a week, which is huge.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention, man, one thing that I really want to recognize Deshaun about is the selflessness. The one thing that I learned about working with Deshaun is it's not about yourself, it's about others. And what he brought to the table is he steps up to the plate when I have things I got to do, whether it be doing something with my son or a doctor's appointment when I had doctor's appointments. And you can't find that nowhere else. Wherever you go, you know, there's people that are, it's like a cutthroat. It's cutthroat in this industry. And I don't have that problem with Deshaun. Yeah, you know, I've actually, man, he is the most selfless guy I know. And he actually, besides Travis, because, you know, that's where I learned, I had to learn how to be selfless. And I think that we're leading by example and we're spreading it. And it's good because I can honestly say that I have hands down, the best partner ever in this whole industry.
You do.
Because nobody else can match it. People wish they could have somebody like that, and they don't.
And the thing is that you got to realize is, you know, for the people that are watching this, he didn't come like that, you guys. Deshaun just didn't come here and was like a top salesman and the MVP and a great recruiter and a great trainer. He didn't come here like that. You know, he was created, you know, into that. You know, I know I had a big part to do with that. You know, and I know you did. You know, Fernando. You know, the good thing about you and Deshaun, both of you guys, is you guys listen. You know, a little bit about myself, you know, since we're talking here, is, you know, I have 26 years of sales experience. My age has as much experience in this as I do. There's nobody. I've met people across this country. There's guys that have as much years into this as me, but they're usually like 15 to 20 years older than me. So I started at a very young age in this business, and I've been running my own office and teams for 15 years. So as far as experience goes, I don't think there's a guy in the country that has as much experience as me at my age. I know there's guys that have more experience and years into it, but they're a lot older than me. But at my age, I have yet to find anybody. And I tell these guys that all the time, to listen. I'm not gonna steer you in the wrong direction. You know, I'm gonna teach you the things that I had to learn in 26 years. We can narrow that shit down into, like, you know, one week of training, you know? and these guys are smart enough to realize that. And that's why it's not gonna take you 20 plus years to get where I'm at. It's gonna take you, you know, on one hand, this many years, less than 5 years to get where I'm at. It's gonna take these guys, it took me 10, 20, 6 years. It's gonna take them less than 5 years. I know it will. Just because, like I said, you know, all the hard knocks that I've been through, I talk to these guys about it a lot, and I definitely care about these guys, and I don't want to see these guys prolong, you know, this whole process longer than it has to be if they don't have to, you know. And these two guys listen. The one thing about these two guys, and you know why they're sitting here, and this is the first show that we're doing, and the reason why they're here is, you know, this guy won the contest, and the other guy's the MVP of the, you know, of the office. It's like, you know, the reason why they're here is they listen, you know. Right. But
All right, I'm rolling.
School of the Hard Knocks.
all right. Like I was saying, I would say, you know, me and Fernando, we created a friendship and a relationship here that's, you know, beyond just business. And, you know, I'm very proud, and I'm very, very, very excited to see what you have in store for the rest of this year. And then obviously 2016, you know, God willing, we're still alive, and, you know, we finished that year. I expect a lot of big things, you know, from Fernando. I know that he's definitely got a lot of experience under his belt too now, and I'm real curious to see what you're gonna do with this experience, because I think you've been taught very well, and I think that you listen very well, and on top of that, you also have your own ideas, and you're very, you know, talented in your own right too. You know, besides of what you've been taught, you're also very creative, you know, yourself, you know, and I'm excited, man, to see what you do, you know, this next year coming up. Or, you know, we're winding down to the end of the year right now. You've had a great year. I would say financially, you probably had one of the best years of your life, if not the best. And, you know, that's exciting.
It sure is.
That's exciting, man, because I don't care who you are. You know, if you're having the best year of your life financially, you know, whether it's not as big as somebody else's, or, you know, don't compare it to nobody else. Compare it to yourself.
Exactly.
If you know you're doing all the right things and you're working harder than you ever had in your life, man, you know, nothing bad's gonna happen. Nothing but good's gonna happen. And I think you realize that this year, you know. And I've seen a big, you know, growth. What are some of the things that you've changed in your life? I mean, because, you know, this is an open discussion here. You know, this isn't, you know, there's no rules here in this interview. This is our show, you know. So
in that case, no.
but I want to get into that real quick, because I think it's important that people hear, you know, the changes that you've made, because I think, number one, you're getting results right now, bigger results than you probably ever had in your life. And what's contributed to that? You know, what are the things that you're doing differently?
I'm not getting in trouble.
If you don't mind talking about that.
The main thing is, I'm more focused on my goals. I don't waste a lot of time anymore because time's precious.
Because you were a process too, Fernando.
It was a big process. I would
Fernando
almost feel
wasn't
like asking him
Trust
to
me.
shed light on the situation because
Trust me. Let me tell you something. Fernando wasn't a guy that, he wasn't this when I met him.
at all.
He wasn't,
Far
a
from
hardworking, disciplined, focused businessman. And I think we should talk about that
Let's talk about it.
because I think that a lot of people watching this and they didn't come in every day. They were always late. I mean, shit, we used to call him slow motion Fernando. I mean, there was a joke in the company, like we're always like, damn, this guy literally is moving like this slow, and you know what? And I used to tell him that, and as a friend and as a mentor, I cared. I wanted to see him snap out of that. I wanted to see him because I knew you were this and more. That's the crazy thing about it. Like I knew I knew this shit years ago. I knew this was you years ago. But what's crazy is now that we're sitting here right now,
Right.
I know you're even more than this. Like I know you're like that, as big as this world, man. The world is yours, And I can't say that about everybody. I can't sit here and lie and say, oh yeah, everybody has that kind of potential and that kind of intelligence, because they don't. But you do. There's something special about you, and you have a reason. I think you've been through a lot, man, in your life. I know, I don't need to get too personal, but
Right.
I know that you've been through a lot, and I've seen you survive those obstacles. I've seen you, get pushed down, but then get back up. When most people wouldn't have got back up. And that's how I look at this situation, is I say, you know what? Most people would have stayed down. Most people would have laughed. Most people wouldn't come back the next day. And you just kept coming back. And it might have even been at a slow motion pace sometimes, but you were still there. But then little by little, I think you said, fuck this, man. Like, I'm gonna speed this shit up.
Yes.
I know marijuana was a big part of your life.
It sure was.
And I'm not for it, against it. I'm not gonna sit here and we're not here to preach. I'm here to tell the truth. But recently you quit smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. But
Sure,
If
I mean,
you wanna, I think that's important. That
In order to get the things you never had, you got to do the things you never did. So I started taking a little inventory of myself. Nothing against marijuana. Shoot, it's great. I mean, if you can afford to smoke it, if you have a disability, it serves its purpose. But when you're okay after coming from an accident, and you're not in a wheelchair, and you're not in pain, what are you using it for? So it could create a false sense of accomplishment. I would like to compare it to comfort. People smoke to be comfortable, and I wasn't comfortable where I'm at. And I just made the decision, like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna stop smoking, not because I thought anything bad about it, but because that was my sacrifice to get to where I gotta get to faster. And I know that if I stopped, then I'd have a clearer mind. I could see things. I was more receptive. I was faster. I wasn't slow motion. If you smoke marijuana, you're on slow motion. So I have nothing against it, but that was my personal sacrifice, because it did make me a better person at the end. I saved money. I knew what was going on. I was on my P's and Q's, and he is right. I wasn't this Fernando at all. I was the guy that you wouldn't pick on your basketball team. I was the guy that was the last guy you'd pick for anything, to be honest, except to go do something wrong. But now that I am where I'm at, is I decided that you got to put the pedal to the metal.
what I think happened too, Fernando, is I think you took a different mentality. You took the mentality of a leader. There's a different mentality. When you're a follower, obviously the responsibility level is very low, and when you're a leader, the responsibility level is very high. And to be responsible for a team, an office, a crew, other people, you have to make choices that are going to better, your crew. You're going to have to put your crew first. You're going to have to ask yourself, is this best for my business? not just you, for your people. You know, and that's what I do every day. You know, every day, whatever choice I make, I always base it off of, is this good for the company? You know, whether it's the secretary, the installers, the new guy. I don't think about myself. I don't say, is this best for me? Because if it was best for me, you know, I'd be on vacation right now. You know, I would, you know, so honest, if it was best for me, I'd be in Hawaii right now. You know, like I'd be bodyboarding in Hawaii right now if it was about me. You know, I have the money and the luxury to go out and just do whatever I want right now. But, you know, when I don't even think like that. I'm the last person in line. You know, I'm the last person that I think about. I think about you, the managers, you know, the new guys. You know, what do I got to do right now? What can I do to get these guys to be successful? You know, I consider myself successful already. So, you know, that part's done with. You know what I mean? Like, it's about you guys. You know, what can I do to get these guys to drive, you know, these nice cars, you know, these Ferraris, you know, these Bentleys, Maseratis. I mean, you know what? Live in gated communities. You know, send, you know, their kids to private school. You know, my kids are in private school. You know, what can I do? You know, that's my goal, man. My goal isn't, you know, me. My goal is we. You know, my goal is us. You know, this to me is, you know, everything. You know, every day I wake up. What can I do to better, you know, this company? What can I do? And this is part of it. You know, these interviews. You know, like, I didn't really want to do this, but then I said, you know what? This is a great idea. We should interview and we should celebrate the top salesmen of the week and of the month, and, you know, and of the company, and the installers, and, you know, everybody should get recognition. And this is the first one. This is gonna get really good. Is this gonna get good?
It is.
This is gonna get good. You know, like, this is really.
I'm
gonna
really
get
excited
good.
about it too. I'm actually excited.
I bought
more.
these chairs a long time ago. I said, you know what? Look at these nice leather chairs. These are expensive chairs, man. These are nice chairs. These things are heavy, man. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna set this up with a sign here and this here, and we're gonna have a bottle of some nice sparkling wine or champagne, just, you know, a couple drinks, just to get the edge off, you know. And you know what? We're gonna talk.
I love it. I love it. I'm excited about the competition right now. Let me just shed light on this. You know, being the Top Gun was great. I loved it. I've never won anything. I bought a Harley Davidson. It's parked right in front of my office.
I know.
Beautiful bike.
He didn't even know how to ride a horse.
Don't even know how to ride one. Still, I'm practicing. I'm going
Still
to.
does it.
I took it out a couple of spins.
That's awesome, Fernando. That is awesome.
Coming from a guy that never had nothing to go out and buy a $10,000 bike like nothing.
Right.
I'm excited because the competition, like, see, to some degree, I won the Top Gun, but it's not as important as it is for somebody to win it from the Suicide Squad. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people might have said, oh, where's Fernando? He's not back in the Top Gun thing. I'm like, look, I've already accomplished this. Coming back from everything we just talked about. But it's more important to me. I'm excited to see this guy, Deshaun. Like, literally, I'm excited because it's not just about me. It's about them. And I need somebody to bring that thing back to the house. That Top Gun it stays in the house. So this competition, it means more to me to watch the younger guys go out and get it. Because even though slow motion, late bloomer, I proved the point. And now it's like, look, man, it's cool to be the Top Gun with the number one office within the number one office. But now let's keep that in here. Let's show. In other words, I want to show them the rest of the all these other crews, like, where the number one office is at and why we're the number one office. Call it boasting. Call it I call it confidence, not cockiness or arrogance. I just believe that these guys need it, they deserve it, and I know they can win it, you know? So if they don't, I'm jumping back in the competition on the next one. No doubt about that one. But on this one, I am, you know, I'm rooting for them. I'm really excited to see these guys and what they can do, you know, with or without that Top Gun.
It's so close right now, shit, you might even win it again, to be honest.
So
it really is. It's close.
So it means a lot to me because you know, this was set up in DHR, and I won the first Top Gun. But at the same time, you know, I want to see
Before you go, before we get to our next guest, I just want to ask you, what are your goals for next year? I mean, where do you see yourself in a year from now, Fernando? Because I know a year is 365 days. That's a long time. You've accomplished a lot this year. From what you've accomplished already this year, and then now, going into next year, where do you see yourself next year?
Okay.
Where do you see yourself?
Besides the materialistic goals, besides the Maserati and the mansions or whatever, I really see myself running. I'm on a building phase for a new crew. Like Deshaun and the 8 to 10 guys that we have right now are self-sufficient. So I plan on building another group, making managers out of the guys that we have. Out of those 8 to 10 guys, there are going to be 8 to 10 managers.
Give me a couple of guys that we should be looking out for.
I would definitely look out for Roger. Roger right now, he's one of our first managers. Rogelio.
What's his last name?
Gomez.
Okay. How old is Roger?
He's 18 years old. 19 actually.
19?
Yeah, 19.
Roger, he has the one that he's having a baby.
He just bought an Audi.
Yeah, he did. He's just got a.
When he came into this office, I don't even think he knew what he was getting into. I told him this job is tough, man.
We gotta toughen Roger up. Roger, we're gonna toughen you up.
Yeah, we are. So Roger, I would definitely keep an eye out for him. Another one that I feel is Kyrell. Kyrell, you gotta watch out for him. So we're grooming our group. See, we're not making sales reps. We're making managers and business owners ultimately. So we're not here to baby you to become, oh, hey, go to work. No, we want you to be self-sufficient. And right now, those 2 guys are the ones that I watch out for. But at the same time, on the same note, all those guys are ready to be managers. We just need to get them a little bit more experience, throw them some guys. So to answer your question, Travis, this time next year, I wouldn't be surprised if we had our own office.
Suicide Squad.
Our own office, 2 different vans running out. Because it's gonna blow up big. Watch out for it. It's gonna happen, and I can't wait till we do this interview next year. Because that way I can say, oh yeah, we have. Let's do it in my office. And we'll be popping champagne bottles over there too. So I'm really excited about the growth in this company. It's unlimited. Your dream plus hustle equals reality, and it's starting to unfold. The reality part is definitely coming alive. So I'm really looking forward to next year.